Weasel words are the enemy of measurability, and I'm talking about words like agile, benefits, capacity, diversity, efficiency, fit for purpose, holistic, livability, productivity, sustainability. I'm sure you know what I mean. When a goal is written with these words, that goal is impossible to meaningfully measure. But still, people continue to resist removing the weasel words from their goals. We need to work through people's resistance to move away from weasel words. That means we can't accept any excuse for keeping them there, and that's what I'll help you with right now. So let's go through 5 of the most common excuses for keeping weasel words, and I'll suggest comebacks that you can use to diffuse those excuses. Excuse number 1 is that we need to keep the goal broad enough for everyone to find their own contribution to it. That is a myth. People find it frustrating and they turn off and can even become quite cynical about the strategy when it's written so broadly and vaguely. This is why many strategic plans just sit on the shelf and gather dust. Excuse number 2 is that our goal is very sophisticated and we need sophisticated words to convey it. The executive team might think they have a good handle on the practical meaning of their weasel words, but strategic plans are not written for executives. It's the rest of the organisation's efforts that will execute that strategy. If they don't understand it, it won't be executed. Excuse number 3 is that we won't be able to agree on words to replace the weasel words. Now, if you can't agree on the words to replace the weasel words, it's very likely you don't have a shared understanding of the intent of those words in the first place. That is a big problem. It means that the best conversation you can have is definitely the conversation about what those weasel words mean to each of you and how to converge on what they really should mean. Excuse number 4 is that we don't want to be held accountable for anything too specific. We need some room to move. And this is a fear of accountability. And that fear is the thing to address first before the weasel words. What is your definition of accountability? I mean, it is, after all, a weasel word itself. If it's about hitting targets, it's all wrong. Accountability is taking action when action's needed, and that can only happen when everyone's clear about what action is needed and why. Excuse number 5 is that we'd end up with too many specific goals if we de-weaseled. And it's true. Often when a weasel word is de-weaseled, it turns into half a dozen specific different results, and that is too many. It's a sign that your strategy is not really strategic. It's more like a shopping list of everything that's important, rather than a ruthless prioritization of what is most important and most urgent to focus on now. Remember, I think it was Peter Drucker's message, strategy is more about what not to do. Now, the first step to inspiring people to change the weasel words in their goals is to listen for which excuse they use to keep them. And when you hear that excuse, don't let it slide. Choose the comeback that I suggested and use your own words to help those people see that their excuses just aren't necessary, and they can have much more measurable goals that give much more meaning to their strategy design and implementation.